Israel is considering plans to send Gazans to Puntland, an autonomous region of Somalia, after Donald Trump's pledge to resettle them in far safer and more beautiful communities. On Thursday, Israel Katz, Israel's foreign minister, ordered the IDF to prepare for the voluntary immigration of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, including special arrangements for sea and air departures. Mr. Trump doubled down on his proposal for the United States to occupy and rebuild Gaza, despite White House officials attempting to soften the move. The president said no U.S. soldiers would be needed to turn Gaza into one of the greatest and most spectacular developments of its kind on Earth, while Palestinians would move to new and modern homes in the region. Despite fierce international resistance, Mr. Trump's remarks have galvanized long-standing Israeli hopes to remove Gazans from the stretch of coastal land they have occupied for centuries. Neighboring Egypt and Jordan have refused to host any of the 2 million citizens left in the devastated Strip, saying the move would fatally undermine the creation of a Palestinian state. But on Wednesday night, Israel Bahar, Israel's consul general to the Pacific Southwest, said that alternative destinations were being considered. From what I'm hearing, we're talking about 3 different states, Mr. Bahar told CBS News. And now you're going to get your newsworthy piece. We're talking about 1 in Morocco, 2 in Somalia, and adjacent to Somalia there is another area. It's called Puntland, and that's what they're looking at, maybe, to relocate them to these 3 places. Gazans told the Telegraph they had no intention of leaving their homes for Somalia or anywhere else, describing the move as an attempt at ethnic cleansing. An Israeli official, speaking on condition of anonymity, said it was extremely premature to discuss potential destinations for voluntary immigration. That being said, there's of course high-level cooperation between President Trump and our Prime Minister on the issue. Yaqub Mohammed Abdallah, Puntland's Deputy Minister of Information, told the Telegraph the state would be happy to host Gazan refugees, as long as they came voluntarily. To start, I can tell you that Puntland is located in the corner of Africa and Palestine is in the Middle East. There is no reason to deport someone from his country to another country without that person choosing to move, but he welcomed free movement. That is no problem, he said. We welcome at that time, and it is for the sake of international law. An arid region on the northern tip of the Horn of Africa, Puntland was a hub for piracy in the early 2000s, but has stabilized to become the wealthiest, most stable state in a nation racked by conflict. Puntland remains bitterly poor, with GDP per capita estimated at $507 in 2022, and Islamic State operates in the remote hills. On Saturday, Donald Trump ordered the first military strikes of his new administration on one Puntland hideout, saying a senior ISIS attack planner and other terrorists hiding in caves were killed. In a post on Facebook, Abdullahi Mohammed Jama, a former spokesman for the Puntland state government, said taking in Palestinians would benefit the region and help it gain support from the international community. Gazans are Islamic people, like Puntlanders, and would contribute to the modernizing and development of the state. The roughly 10,000 refugees who fled the war in Yemen brought technological expertise when they arrived. If it were to accept Gazans, Puntland's status in the world would improve and it would receive security and economic development in return, Mr. Jah said. It's best to take advantage of the unplanned opportunities that sometimes arise, he added. Amit Siegel, a well-connected Israel journalist seen as close to Benjamin Netanyahu, also said Israel was investigating moves to send Palestinians to Puntland, Somaliland, not Somalia, and Morocco. The first 2 seek international recognition, the third is concerned with maintaining recognition of its sovereignty over Western Sahara, and all 3 are countries with an overwhelming Sunni Muslim majority, he said. Somaliland declared complete independence from Somalia in 1991, but has not received international recognition of its status, except from Ethiopia. Riven by poverty and unemployment, Puntland, home to around 4.5 million people, was the launchpad for dozens of hijackings of cargo ships, tankers, and private yachts between 2005 and 2012. Colin Freeman, the Telegraph's correspondent, was kidnapped by Somali pirates based in the region for 40 days in 2008. The leader of Somalia's Islamic State branch is Puntland-born Abdul Qadir Mamin, a fiery cleric who settled in England and gained British citizenship, preaching in favor of jihad in mosques in London and Leicester. He burned his British passport on returning to Somalia in 2015. In March last year, Puntland withdrew its recognition of the federal government amid a dispute over constitutional amendments, in particular a shift from indirect clan-based voting to individual suffrage. Relations with Mogadishu remain tense. Will Brown, an Africa expert at the European Council on Foreign Relations, said discussing sending potentially hundreds of thousands of Gazans to Somalia was insane. Somalia is a failed state plagued by jihadist violence. The idea of dumping deeply traumatized people there is hellish, he said. Under Joe Biden, the U.S. State Department condemned talk of resettling Gazans abroad as inflammatory and irresponsible, amid reports the government was investigating relocating Palestinians to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Some Israeli officials believe Mr. Trump's wholehearted support for the idea, and the diplomatic muscle it brings, could unlock a deal. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, reportedly told a meeting of his Likud party last year, "Our problem is finding countries that are willing to absorb Gazans, and we are working on it." On Thursday, Mr. Katz said Norway, Spain, and Ireland are legally obliged to allow any Gazan resident to enter their territories following their recognition of a Palestinian state. Gazans' land is Gaza. Madrid and Dublin immediately dismissed the claims, with Spain's foreign minister on Thursday saying, "Gazans' land is Gaza and Gaza must be part of the future Palestinian state." In the dying days of his first administration, Mr. Trump recognized Morocco's sovereignty over the Western Sahara, where it has long fought a pro-independence insurgency. Mr. Biden did not reverse the decision but offered no further support, and Morocco's claim has languished amid a lack of further international backing. The Moroccan government did not respond to requests for comment. Its support for a two-state solution meant it was unlikely to accept any resettlement proposal, even with concessions on Western Sahara, said Abdallah Nika, a political analyst. Even if Morocco is officially asked by the U.S. administration or Israel to receive displaced people from Gaza, its stance will not be different, he said. Inside Gaza, residents told the Telegraph efforts to remove them from the Strip would never succeed. "I do not know why they chose Somalia and Morocco, and whether these countries agreed to our immigration from Gaza, but Israel wants to occupy Gaza and expand and build settlements," said Ahmed Al-Hado, 50, from Gaza City. "This Gaza is for us, and we will not leave it to anyone else."